Hello everyone, in this video we're going to learn how to write the equations of a circle. Alright, so we have the standard form of the equation of the circle. S minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where h and k is the center of the circle. Now keep in mind the subtraction side right here is the side of the formula, right? Now r is the radius of the circle, so which is this value right here is equal to the square root of the value of the right hand side of the equation of the circle, right? Now if h and k equals 0, then the standard form becomes s squared plus y squared equals r squared, and then the circle center at the origin. Now a tangent line to a circle is always perpendicular to the radius drawn to the point of tangency. Alright, so this is the radius, and I'm going to draw the tangent line. It's going to be like this, and then the radius always perpendicular to the tangent lines, and the point right here is called the point of tangency. Now the point of tangency is the point where the tangent line touches the circle and lies on both the circle and the tangent line, right? So the tangent point right here is the common point of the circle and the tangent line. If two lines are perpendicular, their slopes are negative reciprocals of each other, right? This one you learn in Algebra 1, right? So for example, if the tangent line has the slope 1/3, right, and the equation passing the radius right here has the slope -3, right, because it's negative reciprocal of 1/3, which is -3, right? In other words, this slope right here times this slope right here equals -1, right? -3 times 1/3 equals -1, so which is the slope of the tangent line times the slope of the radius equals -1 all the time. Now we're going to learn how to prove this formula, right? So we're going to use distance formula. This point right here is s2, this is y2, right? This is s1, this is y1, right? So s2, which is s, right, minus s1, which is 0 altogether square, plus y minus 0 altogether square, right? Now we're going to simplify this one. It's going to be d equals square root of s squared plus y squared, right? D in this expression is going to be radius, right? So it could be radius equals square root of s squared plus y squared, right? Now I'm going to square both sides, so it could be r squared equals s squared plus y squared, right? So I'm going to swap this one. It could be s squared plus y squared equals r squared. This formula has been proved, right? Now let's prove this formula. Now in this situation, the center is not at origin anymore. It's going to be somewhere right here, right? And we still use the distance formula, right? So we have d equals square root of, this is s2, y2, s1, y1, right? So it could be s minus h altogether square plus y minus k altogether square, right? Now d actually the radius, right? It's right here. So it could be radius equals square root of s minus h altogether square plus y minus k altogether square, right? Now we're going to square both sides, so we're going to have r square equals s minus h altogether square plus y minus k altogether square, right? Now we just swap this one, so it could be s minus h altogether square plus y minus k altogether square equals radius square. This one has been proved, right? Now example number 1. We're going to write the equation of a circle given the center and the radius, right? Center right here, radius right here. since center is not at origin, so we're going to use the formula s minus h altogether square plus y minus k altogether square equals r square, right? And this guy actually s and k. This is the radius, right? Substitute into the equation right here. So we're going to end up with s minus 5 altogether square plus y minus 2 altogether square equals 49, right? Now let's move on to example number 2. Write the equation of the circle given the center and a point on the circle. Now the center is going to be h and k, 1, -3, which is right here, right? And pass it through the point 2 and 2. So s equal to y equal to is going to be right here, right? So we're going to use the formula s minus h altogether square plus y minus k altogether square equals radius square, right? Now we're going to substitute h and k over here, and the point over here actually s and y, right? And we solve for radius, right? So we have s equals 2 minus h, which is 1 altogether square plus y, which is 2 right here, minus k, but k equals -3, so it could be plus 3 square equals radius square, right? Now we simplify. 2 minus 1 could be 1 square, it could be 1 plus 2 plus 3 could be 5 square, it could be 25 equals radius square, right? So radius square equals 26, right? So we substitute the center and the radius over here back to the formula over here, and we get the answer, right? So it could be s minus 1 altogether square plus y plus 3 square, right, equals 26. Keep in mind this is r square equal 26, which is right here, right? And this one is the final answer. Now example number 3. Write the equation of the circle given diameter, right? What is the standard equation of the circle with diameter a, b, where a equals 3, 1, s equals 3, y equals 1, it's going to be right here, s equals 1, y equals 4, it's going to be right here, right? So this one is diameter, right? The radius should be half of diameter, right? And if you sketch the circle, it's going to be something like this. Now again, we use the equation s minus h altogether square plus y minus k altogether square equals radius square, right? Now what you need to do is to find the center and the radius, and you're done, right? So we're going to use this one formula. It's going to be d equals square root of s1 y1 s2 y2, right? So it could be, now to find the radius, we're going to take the diameter divided by 2, right? So it could be square root of 13 divided by 2, right? Now to find the center, we need to find the midpoint right here, right? So we're going to use the midpoint formula, right? So we have the center h equals s2 plus s1 divided by 2, right? So it could be 1 plus 3 divided by 2. It could be 2. K equals y2 plus y1 divided by 2, right? So 4 plus 1 divided by 2. It could be 5 over 2. So finally, we substitute 2 for h, 5 over 2 for k, and square root 13 over 2 for the radius back to the equation right here, right? So we have s minus 2 square plus y minus 5 over 2 square equals, this one square equals 13 over 4, right? Now example number 4. Write the equation of a circle using transformation. What is the standard equation of the circle if this guy is translated 4 units left, 2 units up? Alright, so the first step you need to do is to identify the center h and k, right? So h equals 16 and k equals 6, right? remember the standard form is going to be s minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals 1, right? Now, since we're going to translate 4 units left, right? So we subtract 4, right? 2 units up, we're going to add 2, right? So 16 subtract 4 is going to be 12, right? And 6 plus 2 is going to be 8, right? So this one is the new center of the equation. And the radius right here doesn't change, right? So the new equation should be s minus 12 squared plus y minus 8 squared equals 1, right? Now, if we use the graph, we can identify this equation easily, right? Now, look, the center is going to be 16, 6, so it could be right here, right? And the radius is 1, right? So the circle should be something like this, right? Now we're going to translate 4 units left, 2 units up. So we're going to count from the center to the left, 4 units, and to up is going to be right here. And the new circle is going to be like this, right? Now question B, similar, right? So we're going to have h and k. It's going to be negative 5, negative 7, right? So we're going to translate 5 units to the right. So we're going to add 5 over here. And 4 units down, subtract 4, right? So negative 5, add 5, it could be 0. Negative 7, subtract 4, it could be negative 11. This one is the new center, right? So the new equation should be s minus 0 square plus y plus 11 square equals 36, right? So we're going to simplify s square plus y plus 11 square equals 36, right? Now we're going to locate the original equation right here. The center is going to be negative 5, negative 7. It's going to be right here, right? Radius right here, square equals 36. So radius equals 6, right? So it's going to be 2, 4, 6 right here, right? So if you grab this one, it's going to be something like this. Now, the new center is going to be 0, negative 11. It's going to be right here, right? And if you grab the new circle, it's going to be something like this. Now, example number 5. Write the equation of a circle given the center and error, right? Error is right here. So remember, we have the error of the circle is going to be pi r squared, right? From this formula, we can solve for radius, right? So radius squared equals the error, which is 2 pi right here, divided by pi right here. So it could be 2, we done, right? The center right here, h and k, right? So we have s minus h, which is plus 15, right? Square plus y minus k, which is 3 root 7 square equals radius square, which is 2 right here. And this one is the final answer, right? Now, example number 6. Write the equation of a circle given the center and circumference, right? So we have the circumference of the circle, it could be 2 pi r, right? So then we have r equals c divided by 2 pi, which is this guy right here. 2 pi square root of 15 divided by 2 pi, right? So it could be square root of 15, right? Now we square both sides, so radius square equals 15, right? Now the center is going to be h and k. So we have s minus 15 square plus y minus 14 square equals 15, right? Now example number 7. Write the equation of a circle given center and tangent lines. Alright, what is the standard equation of a circle if the center is going to be negative 15, 9, right? And tangent to s equal negative 7, right? This one is the vertical line, right? Remember, you have the Christmas tree trick. If the line is going this way, the equation should be y equals ms plus b. This is y equals s plus b. If you see horizontal line, y equals y-intercept, which is b. If you have vertical line, s equals s-intercept, which is s equals something, right? You see s equals negative 17 is right here, right? And it's actually vertical line, so it could be like this. So this is s equals negative 17, right? Now center negative 15 and 9. Negative 15 and 9 is going to be right here. So by visualizing, you observe that the radius right here should be 2, right? Because the circle tangent to the line s equals negative 17, right? So the graph should be something like this. And the distance from negative 15 to negative 17 right here, which is this little things right here, is going to be 2, right? And this guy actually the radius, right? So you have equation s minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals radius squared, right? Now we substitute this guy and this guy into this formula. So we have s plus 15 squared plus y minus 9 squared equals 4, right? Now question B. The center is on the x-axis. You know that the center is going to be h and k. Since the center is on the x-axis, k should be 0, right? So the center becomes h, 0, right? The circle tangent to s equals 7, which is right here. And s equals negative 13, which is right here. Right? So then the distance between two vertical lines right here actually the diameter of the circle, right? So diameter is 7 subtract negative 13. It's going to be 20. So you can calculate the radius. It could be 20 divided by 2. It's going to be 10. That's it, right? Now you need to find the center right here. You have the y-coordinate of the center is going to be 0. Now we need to solve for h. That's it, right? So we're going to use the midpoint formula, right? So h equals s-coordinate right here, 7, plus the s-coordinate right here, negative 13 divided by 2, right? So it could be negative 6 divided by 2. It could be negative 3, right? So then the center it could be negative 3, 0, right? So it could be right here. So if you wrap the circle, it could be something like this. Now the equation of the circle is s minus h, which is plus 3 square, plus y minus 0 square, which is y square, equals the radius square, which is 100, right? Now question C. The center is on the 4th quadrant, right? So the center is going to be H and K. Since it is on the 4th quadrant, it tells us that H is positive, K is negative, right? Now tangent to S equals 7. So 7 is right here. Y equals negative 4. So negative 4 is right here. And s equals 17. 17 is right here. Now we need to find the radius first, right? So in order to find the radius, we need to find diameter, right? Diameter of the circle is the distance between two lines right here, right? So we have diameter equals 17 subtract 7, right? Equals 10, right? So then the radius equals 10 divided by 2, it could be 5. And then radius square, it could be 25, right? Now since the radius is 5 and the circle tangent to 3 lines right here, right? So you have two possibilities, right? Either it could be like this, or it could be right here, right? The distance from here to the center of the circle right here must be 5, or from here to here must be 5, right? But you know that the line right here, y equals negative 4, right? So you have k right here should be negative 4 plus 5. And k should be negative 4 minus 5, right? You can count 5 units up or 5 units down to get two possibilities of the equation of the circle, right? So then this guy equals 1, this guy equals negative 9, right? You know that k is negative because it's in the 4th quadrant, right? So then this one works, right? So you need to eliminate this guy, right? Now to solve for h can be midpoint formula, right? The midpoint of this guy and this guy right here, right? So it can be 17 plus 7 divided by 2. It can be 24 divided by 2. It can be 12, right? So your equation should be x minus 12 square plus y minus k, but k equals negative 9, so it could be plus 9 square equals radius square. It could be 25, right? Now, question D, center h and k equals negative 3 and 1, tangent to the y-axis. So negative 3 and 1 is going to be right here. Tangent to the y-axis, so it tells us that the radius is 3, right? And if you graph the circle, it could be something like this. So you have equation s minus h, but h equals negative 3, so it could be plus 3 square plus y minus 1 square equals 9, right? Now question E, center negative 3, 1, and tangent to the x-axis, so this one is h and k, right? Negative 3, 1 is going to be right here. And tangent to the x-axis, so you know that the radius right here must be 1, right? So if you graph the circle, it's going to be something like this. Equation should be x plus 3 square plus y minus 1 square equals 1, right? Now question F, find the general form of the equation of the circle with y-intercept equals negative 2 and negative 8. Tangent to the x-axis at 4, 0. Now if you graph the circle, it could be something like this, right? Now the equation of the circle has the y-intercept negative 2, negative 8. So this is negative 2, this is negative 8. And tangent to the x-axis at the point 4, 0. So 4, 0 is right here, right? Since the circle tangent to the x-axis at this point, you're going to draw the vertical line right here, right? So the center should be on this vertical line, right? So it can be somewhere right here. And you know that the y of the center should be average of this guy and this guy, right? So k right here equals negative 2 plus negative 8 divided by 2. It's going to be negative 5, right? So it could be right here. And the x coordinate of the center should be s right here. Should be 4, right? So h should be 4, right? Now we need to find the radius. The radius is actually the distance from here to here. So the radius is 5, right? So then your equation should be s minus 4 square plus y plus 5 square equals radius square should be 25, right? Now we need to find the general form of the equation. So we need to expand this one using the complete square formula, right? Remember a plus b square equals a square plus 2ab plus b square, right? Now if you expand a minus b square and you just change the sign right here, every single thing else should be the same, right? So this guy turns out to be s squared minus 8s plus 16 plus y squared plus 10y plus 25 equals 25, right? Now we're going to subtract 25 both sides. So we're going to end up with Now, example number 8. Write equation of the tangent line of a circle. You given the circle right here and the tangent point right here, right? So, the center of the circle right here actually H and K is going to be 0, 0, right? Now, we're going to sketch the circle. Now, let's call the equation of the tangent line D is going to be y equals ms plus b, right? We need to solve for m and b, right? And observe that this tangent line right here always perpendicular to the radius, right? So their slope should be negative reciprocal, right? So we need to find the slope of the radius first, right? So the slope of the radius is 2 root 2 minus 0 over 1 minus 0. It could be 2 root 2, right? And then you can conclude that the slope m right here is could be negative reciprocal. This one should be negative 1 over 2 root 2, right? This tangent points right here, actually right here, and this is actually s and y, right? So we substitute this guy for s and y, and this guy for m back to the equation right here to solve for b, right? So we have 2 root 2 equals negative 1 over 2 root 2 times 1 plus b, right? So then b equals 2 root 2 plus 1 over 2 root 2. We're going to simplify this one, so we just multiply this guy, right? So it could be 8 plus 1 over 2 root 2. It could be 9 over 2 root 2, right? So the final equation should be y equals negative 1 over 2 root 2 s plus 9 over 2 root 2, right? Now let's move on to question B. The equation of the circle is in the general form. We need to convert this one to standard form first, right? So we need to rearrange this one. So I'm going to write s squared plus 4s right here, right? Put the blank right here, right? Plus y squared plus 2y right here. Put the blank right here, right? Now I'm going to add 20 both sides, so it could be 20 right here, right? So if you want to review how to convert from general form to standard form of the equation of the circle, please check out the link in the description below. I need to fill in the blank right here, right? I need to check the coefficient of the middle term right here, which is 4 divided by 2 and square. It's going to be 4, right? And this guy, 2 divided by 2 square, is going to be 1, right? So on the left hand side, I just literally add 5, right? The right hand side must be 5, right? And then this guy right here actually complete square, right? So it could be s plus 2 altogether square plus this guy right here, y plus 1 altogether square equals 25, right? Now the center right here, h and k, which is negative 2, right? And negative 1. Then the radius is 5, right? Now this one is the tangent point. So if you graph this one, it could be something like this. The next one similar to question A, right? I just leave the answer for you to check, right? Now let's move on to example number 9. Let the equation of the circle be s squared plus y squared plus 4s plus 2y minus 20 equals 0. Find the center and the radius of the circle, right? This one we already found above, right? In question B right here, right? So the center negative 2, negative 1, radius is 5, right? Question B. Find the intercept if any of the circle, which means we need to find x-intercept and y-intercept, right? Now x-intercept, we just let y equals 0, right? Substitute over here. So we have s squared plus 4s minus 20 equals 0, right? Now we need to use quadratic formula since we cannot factor this one, right? So a equals 1, b equals 4, c equals negative 20. So solution should be s equals negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Substitute values negative 4 plus minus square root of 4 square minus 4 times 1 times negative 20, right? Over 2 times 1. We're going to simplify. It's going to be negative 4 plus and minus square root of 96 over 2, right? 96, it could be 16 times 6. 16 print outside, it could be 4, right? So it could be negative 4 plus and minus 4 square root of 6 over 2. Divide the top and bottom by 2. So it could be negative 2 plus and minus 2 square root of 6 is the s-intercept, right? So s-intercept should be, now we need to solve for the y-intercept, right? So we're gonna let s equals 0, right? Substitute over here. You have y squared plus 2y minus 20 equals 0. And a equals 1, b equals 2, and c equals negative 20, right? So y value should be negative 2 plus minus square root of 2 squared minus 4 times a times negative 20 divided by 2, right? So it's gonna be negative 2 plus and minus square root of 4 plus 80, right? Over 2. It's gonna be negative 2 plus and minus square root of 84 over 2. 84 can be split into 4 and 21. 4 is a perfect square. You can print outside. It's gonna be 2, right? So it could be negative 2 plus and minus 2 square root of 21 over 2. Divide the top bottom by 2. So it could be negative 1 plus and minus square root of 21, right? So the y-intercept is, now question C. What are the domain and range of this circle? So we're going to graph this circle. The domain, we're going to look at the x-coordinate of the center, which is right here. We have negative 2, subtract the radius, and negative 2, add the radius, right? Because the center is right here, right? If you subtract, it's go to the left right here. If you add, it's go to the right right here, right? So the domain should be from here to here, right? So it's gonna be negative 7, 3, right? Now you do exactly the same thing for the range. It's gonna be negative 6, 4, right? Now example number 10. Find the intersection of the line y equals negative 1/2 s minus 3 and the circle right here. So we're going to use substitution. So I'm going to substitute this guy over here for y, right? We solve for s. So it could be s plus 1 altogether square plus negative 1/2 s minus 3 plus 1 is going to be minus 2 altogether square equals 5, right? Use the least square formula to explain this one, right? So we have s squared plus 2s plus 1, right? Now factor negative 1 out, and when you square, it's going to be positive, right? And then this guy becomes 1/2 s plus 2 squared. And then we expand this one, it's going to be plus 1 over 4 s squared plus 2s plus 4, right? Equals 5. Now 1 for s plus s squared is going to be 5 over 4 s squared. 2s plus 2s could be 4s. 1 plus 4 is going to be 5. Subtract 5 both sides, it could be 0, right? Multiply both sides by 4, it's going to be 5s squared plus 16s equals 0. Factor s out. So we have s times 5s plus 16 equals 0. This one is the zero product, right? So s equals 0 and 5s plus 16 equals 0. So s equals 0 and s equals negative 16 over 5. Now we're going to substitute 0 for s back to the original equation right here to solve for y, right? So y equals negative 3, right? So you have the first order pair should be 0, comma, negative 3, right? Now substitute this guy back over here, so you have y equals negative 1/2 times negative 16 over 5, which is 16 over 10 minus 3, right? So it's going to be negative 14 over 10, right? Simplify, it could be negative 7 over 5, right? So the second order pair should be negative 16 over 5 and negative 7 over 5, right? Example number 11. An isosceles trapezoid is inscribed in a semicircle of radius 4 with center origin, right? So the center is right here. Now this guy right here actually for 0, right? This guy negative for 0, right? Now point C right here has the coordinates s and y, right? This one is s coordinate, right? This one is y coordinate. Then by symmetry, point B right here has the coordinate negative s and y, right? And the height right here actually the distance from here to here. This guy actually the height of the trapezoid, right? And it's gonna be y values, right? Now since the semicircle has the radius 4 and center at 0, 0, we have the equation s minus 0 square plus y minus 0 square equals 16, right? 4 square equals 16. So it could be s square plus y square equals 16, right? We solve for y. So y square equals 16 minus s square, right? Now take square root both sides, so then y equals plus and minus square root of 16 minus s square, right? Now we only pick the positive guys because the semicircle is above the x-axis, right? So then y equals square root of 16 minus s square. And this guy actually the height of the trapezoid. Now the area of the trapezoid is going to be 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height, right? Now base 1 is the distance from here to here, right? And it's actually 2s, right? Because from here to here it's going to be s. From here to here it's going to be another s, right? So it's going to be 2s. And base 2 is distance from here to here actually 8, right? So the area of the trapezoid is 1/2 8 plus 2s times the height. It's going to be square root of 16 minus s squared, right? Now we're going to factor 2 out divided by 2 right here. So the final answer must be a of s equals 4 plus s square root of 16 minus s squared, right? Now we're going to print up the calculator to find the maximum of this one, right? Hit graph right here, input the function, and hit enter. It's going to be right here. The maximum is right here. Alright, so we're gonna press menu number 6, number 3, go to the left, go to the right. It's gonna be 20.8 f s equal 2. And it's good time to stop. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember that if you failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail.
We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine.